All right, I want to say happy Sunday. Hope you're having an amazing Sunday. But before we begin our transformational thought, I want to let everybody know that if you actually need some services or if you're going through some things that you need help with, I want you to know at the Rory T. Edwards Group, we can actually provide a blueprint for you that will help you get to the next phase in your life that you really, really want to be at. So all you have to do is go to www.rorytedwards.com. That's www.rorytedwards.com and get your initial free consultation. And then what we'll do is we'll move from there. We had to put that plug in there because this is what it's really all about. But today, I'm going to probably talk a little bit longer than I usually talk because today is really going to be a valuable lesson, I think, in how we transform the phases that we are in to the phases for where we would like to go. And so what I really want to talk today about is the power of the number two. Because most people, I've talked to a lot of people and I've told them about the powers of different numbers, but I really want to talk about the power of number two. And the reason why I say number two is because most of us in life, what we do is we go on and we make a lot of things more difficult than they really are. When actually the universe has really set it up for us to do things either one way or another way. And so what I want to do is I want to challenge you today on two things, because that's what we're talking about, the power of number two. I want to challenge you on two things. One, if you could go back and rewrite your whole entire life, how would it look? What would you do differently to change the current situation that you're in? What would you do differently to change your life? Now, let me be specific on that. I'm not saying that you go back and you change the outcomes of other people's lives. So, for instance, let me give you an example. If someone who was very close to you left this life too soon, would you want to bring them back? But that's not what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about is what would you do if you were to rewrite your life? What things would change? And then as you begin to write that, I want you to sit down and think about that. But then as you begin to write that, think about some of those things, that the choices you may write out, which may not have a significant contribution to where you are currently, right? And the second thing I want to challenge you on is that if you could go back and just say tomorrow, the world stopped for 24 hours. The world stopped for 24 hours and you could go, you could do, you could be, or you could have anything you desired in the world. What would that be? What would that be? The reason I'm asking this is because there's so many different things in our life that we need to understand, but there's the power of two is there's only two things in life that you as a person do not have the opportunity to change. One is your parents and your siblings. There's nothing you can do about that. You had no opportunity or no choice in that. And two is that all of us who are in this living, the life of living, will eventually die. Those are two things that you don't have any choice in. But the things in between there, you do have a choice. You have a choice to make those decisions, and you have a choice to predict and dictate the outcomes. And so that's what we do here at the Rory T. Edwards Group. We help you dictate the outcomes. And so I gave you two challenges, but I want to tell you a story. This is sort of my tagline and my story, and I want to share that with you. And the reason why I want to share that with you is because it's gonna circle back to what I'm really talking about today. And so about 9 or 10 months ago, my daughter Asia, my granddaughter Sanaya, and I jumped in the car. We're in Vegas. And so the lottery was up to $1.5 billion. And so you would figure that Vegas would have the lottery. But Vegas doesn't have the lottery. So we had to drive all the way to California. And so we get down to California and we get to the first state line, and there's a line that's probably 2 hours, 3 hours long. And so I tell her, I said, well, let's drive down a little bit further to the next town and let's see how the line looks there. And so we drive down to that town, and lo and behold, the line is not that long. So we go in and we purchase tickets and we buy some snacks and we head on back. And so what I do after I drop them off, I say I'm going to go to the bank. And I go to the bank and I go to my teller and I said, I want to make a withdrawal. I write out the withdrawal slip for $1 million. Write it out, give it to the teller. She goes in, she checks my account. She comes back. She says, Mr. Edwards, I want to let you know that you don't have $1 million in your account. And I was like, yeah, I know. I just want a loan. So then she looks at me, all perplexed, and she leaves and goes to get the manager. He comes back and he says, Mr. Edwards, young lady tells me that you want to withdraw $1 million out your account. And I say, yes. And he says, well, we can take that one or two ways. We can take that as you playing a joke on us, or we can take that as almost a criminal act. And I said, oh, no, let's stop right there. My mistake, I forgot. I didn't explain to her. I said, let me tell you why. I said, I went down to the state line and I bought a lottery ticket. And what I'm going to do is I know I'm going to win. So what I'm just trying to do is to get an advance on my winnings so that I can have a party tonight for family and friends. And so he laughed and he says, oh, my God. He said, I do hope you win. He said, but I have a great alternative for you. And I said, what would that be, sir? He says, how about when you win tomorrow, you come back and I'll give you all the millions you want. And he said, can we agree to that? And I said, sounds good. Well, I guess you all know me doing this video means I did not win, right? So we laughed about it. But the moral to my story, and I've told this story several times and some of you have heard it, but I'm going to circle back and tell you why I'm telling this story again. The moral to my story is that you cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. I'm going to say that again because most people are going to miss. This is the most important piece of this whole conversation. You cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. So there are a lot of people who are running around life mad at someone who have something that they want but haven't put in the work to get it. You can't withdraw what you did not deposit. If you took school as a joke and you are now in a mediocre job, it's because you did not deposit in school what you needed to deposit in school to get the job that you desire. But guess what? You can still do that. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. If you are in the living, you have an opportunity today to change that and do what you want to do and make a difference in your life. Right? Again, you only have two choices in life. One is the producer and one is the consumer. As a producer, you are the one who generates the things that the consumer will purchase, will eat, will wear, will do everything. You have the opportunity to be the person who sets the tone, who sets the beat of the drum as a producer. Or you can live your life as being a consumer. That's what we help people do. We help people become producers. We take you from becoming a consumer to becoming a producer. That we hope that you look at the information that I'm sharing with you and you remember the one and most important thing that I said. You cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. And so I want to end with this one other story. And the reason why is because I tell people, they say, why do you keep telling that story? And so there was a church, a congregation that was going through some transition. And so the congregation hired a new pastor, preacher, rabbi, imam, whatever you want to identify with. And so the day of the first service, the congregation comes in and this worship leader comes in and he delivers an amazing message. and everybody's fired up and everybody leaves and everybody is talking about him in town and everybody's saying that, wow, this is the message. He's the messenger that we've been looking for. And so everybody's so excited. They spread the word, and the following week they come back and the service is double of what it was last week. And so as they go through the rituals and everything, he comes back, the worship leader comes back, and he begins to tell the same story that he told last week. And so people are looking around and they're saying, well, does he know that he told this same story last week? And so some people say, well, maybe because there's new people in the congregation, he wanted them to hear his message also. So they chalk it up as him being just trying to share the message so that everybody heard him. And so there's a little bit of chatter going on in the city as the week goes on because he told the same message. And so they said they come back on the third week. And on the third week, they go through the rituals and this worship leader begins and he tells the same story. And so people are now confused. They're saying, does he know that he's telling the same story that he told the first week and the second week? And so then all of a sudden, after the service is over, people start to congregate in groups. And they go through and they tell people that we need to find someone who can talk to the pastor. We need someone who can talk to the pastor to let him know that he's telling the same story. And so they find the old lady, the one who in every congregation, every worship service that you're in, the one who sits on the front row, the one who believes that at a certain age, I can say whatever I want to say. And so they all talk and they find the right things for her to say. And so the fourth week comes up, and as they're going through the service, again, she raises her hand and she says to the worship leader, may I share something with you? And he says, sure, please do. She says, well, a few of us were talking. And he says, I know. And she says, well, what we want to let you know is that you've told the same story the first week, the second week, and the third week. And we were just concerned that, did you know you were telling the same story? And so he laughs and he smiles and he says, well, let me explain to the congregation why I'm telling the same story. He says, I'm very aware that I'm telling the same story. He says, but the thing is that I'm going to continue to tell the same story until the actions change. So, my Facebook family, I am going to continue to tell the same story until your actions change. I don't mind what you do in your personal life, but what you do in your personal life will affect your professional outcomes. And so as we move through this process, I just wanted you to let you know today on St. Patrick's Day, hope you're wearing some green. You see, I'm rocking my red, white, and blue because I'm down with you. But anyway, I just want to say that I hope that today is the day that you begin to change what your outcomes will be. And I got to thank Miss Peacock Jones for listening. Thank you very much for your comments. I see him. I just got to go through this story because I'll be the lost to thought past process. But I just want people to know that at the Rory T. Edwards Group, we can help you get to where you want to be. Now, all it's going to take is for you to go on my website, www.rorytedwards.com. Click on how we can help you. Put your information in and let's try to make a change for what your outcomes will be. But again, if you're happy where you are, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. But if you would like to change your legacy, let us try to help you get there. Let us try to help you get there. All my life is about is trying to help people to get to where they want to be. And hopefully it'll be a change that you desire. But again, go back and try those 2 challenges again for me. And then let me know. Please hit me up. Facebook friend, you're my Facebook friend. Come on and let me know what you think. Again, challenge number 1. If you could rewrite your whole journey, what would that look like? Not any other person who was in your journey, your journey. What would you do? Would you change your parents? Would you change your siblings? Would you change your color? Would you change your economic status? Would you change your education status? What would you change? And once you change something, then explain to me how that outcome would make your current situation different. That's the first challenge. And the second challenge is that if the world stopped for 24 hours and you could do, you could be, you could go, you could have anything this world offered and you desired, what would that be? What would that be? So I'm letting you know you can't do that. You can't do that. You can do exactly what that is, because time waits for no one, but time will bless you enough for you to have whatever you want in your life. Hey, I talked a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope that you like it. Please share it with all your friends. Please let me know what you think. And please stay tuned. We're coming back with more. You have a great day. And I hope that you start your transformational your transformational process today. If you're breathing, you have an opportunity to change it. You all be blessed. Rory T. Edwards is out. I'm going to enjoy this day, and hopefully you will do the same thing. Have a blessed and prosperous day. We out.